Hare Namaha. In this video, we'll examine, according to the Bhagavad Gita, whether Varna is determined by birth or choice. This video is about scriptural interpretation, not social enforcement or judgment or personal worth. Scriptures which work on eternal principles like Guṇa, Karma Siddhanta, and Moksha need their own terminology and definitions to be understood properly. This does not mean that a person is fit for only one thing and that he cannot do anything else, because we know for a fact that with hard work, people can achieve great things. What Gita does is suggest that kind of activity that is suited to the svabhāva so that a soul can easily attain moksha. Moksha is the goal here and not money, wealth, or fame. One might ask, why should we even decide this? Whether Varna comes by birth or by karma or choice, what difference does it make? Well, in the chapter 3, verse 35, Bhagavan says, it is far better to perform one's own natural prescribed duty, meaning swadharma, even in an imperfect manner, than to perform another's prescribed duty, meaning paradharma, in a perfect manner. In fact, it is preferable to die in the discharge of one's duty than to follow the path of another which is filled with danger. Here, swadharma does not mean Hindu dharma and paradharma does not mean other religions, because at the time Gita was spoken, modern religions did not even exist, and the reason Bhagavan taught Gita is because Arjuna did not want to fight, which is the swadharma of a kshatriya. Bhagavan makes this clear in chapter 2, verses 32 and 33. Bhagavan says, an open gateway to heaven has, by a happy chance, offered itself to you. O Arjuna, for fortunate kshatriyas alone gain an occasion to wage a war like this. If, however, you refuse to fight this dharma yuddha, abandoning your swadharma and reputation, you will certainly incur sin. So, swadharma means varna dharma. Bhagavan also teaches the importance of pursuing swadharma. In the chapter 18, verses 45 and 46, Bhagavan says, by fulfilling their duties, born of their innate qualities, human beings can attain perfection. By performing one's swadharma, one worships the Creator from whom all living entities have come into being and by whom the whole universe is pervaded. By such performance of work, a person easily attains perfection. What is this perfection? The purpose of the Bhagavad Gita is this: complete elimination of sorrow and attainment of supreme bliss. In the chapter 5, verse 21, Bhagavan says that those who are not attached to external sense pleasures realize divine bliss in the self. Being united with God through yoga, they experience unending happiness. The Gita shows the path to attain that bliss. Bhagavan explains the importance of accepting Shastras as authority in this matter. In the chapter 3, verses 15 and 16, Bhagavan says that human duties are prescribed in the Vedas and the Vedas originate from Bhagavan himself. Therefore, the all-pervading Lord is eternally established in sacrificial action, which is yajna. Those who do not follow this cycle of duty established by the Vedas live sinful lives, indulging only in the senses. Such lives are wasted. In the chapter 16, verses 23 and 24, Bhagavan says, those who discard scriptural injunctions and act according to desire do not attain perfection, happiness, or the supreme goal. Therefore, Shastra alone is the authority in determining what should be done and what should not be done. Know the scriptural injunctions and act accordingly in this world. So, for matters concerning dharma and moksha, Shastra alone is the authority. Therefore, determining whether varna is by birth or choice is extremely important. The moment people hear the words varna, karma, a particular verse immediately comes to mind. Chaturvanyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasah. Here Bhagavan says, the four varnas were created by me according to the division of guna and karma. Though I am its creator, know me as non-doer and imperishable. This means that Bhagavan did not act out of attachment or hatred towards jivas, but established the system impartially based on previous karma of jivas. So it becomes key how Varna is decided to know those karmas that help a jiva move towards moksha and not downwards. Using this verse, some people argue that according to the Gita, whichever karma a person does, that determines his varna. This interpretation arises from reading isolated verses without considering the Gita's full doctrinal structure. Let's call them Purapakshi. According to the Purapakshi group, varna is merely a label or post or title like manager, accountant, cashier that can be attained by anyone irrespective of birth. When Dharmashastra verses are shown stating birth-based varna, they dismiss them as interpolations or mistranslations. Let us examine how much truth there is in this claim. Since the Bhagavad Gita has many authoritative commentaries by great acharyas, no single verse in it can be dismissed as an interpolation. So let us examine verses where varna, guna, karma words are mentioned. If we don't get the feeling that varna is merely a title, we must conclude that varna is jati, meaning that which is attained by birth. First, consider the phrase Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam. The four varnas were created by me. If varna were merely a label or post, what sense does it make to say that they were created? The word srishtam means creation, not categorization. Creation means birth of something. In the chapter 3, verse 10, Bhagavan says that in the beginning of creation, Brahma created humankind along with duties. So here the word srishtva clearly means creation of humans, right? And not creation of mere titles called humans. So Srishti must mean creation of tangible entities that are called humans. Moreover, the terms Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra already exist in the Vedas. The Vedas are not created by anyone. They are eternal according to Sanatana Dharma. So what does creating titles even mean? Further, the 13th verse of chapter 4 says Guṇa karma vibhagasaha, not karma vibhagasaha alone. Yet this Purapakshi conveniently ignores the word guna altogether. In the chapter 18 verse 41, Bhagavan says that the duties of Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras are divided according to the gunas born of their own nature. This verse teaches against the non-traditional interpretation that anyone can do anything and that varna is assigned based on what they do. Now the Purapakshi group modifies the claim. Varna is determined by gunas, and gunas are identified first, then varna is assigned. Still, they continue to treat varna as a mere title that can be awarded to anyone with certain gunas irrespective of birth. Let us see those verses connecting birth and gunas. In the chapter 13 verse 22, Bhagavan says that the Purusha situated in Prakriti experiences the gunas born of Prakriti. Attachment to these gunas is the cause of birth in good and bad wombs. Well, this does not mean that one varna is good and another is bad. It only establishes the connection between gunas and the kind of birth a jiva gets based on that. This verse occurs in Kshetra Vibhaga Yoga, where varna is not discussed. In the chapter 6 verse 44, Bhagavan says that jivas are driven by the strength of their past life tendencies even against their choice. And in chapter 8 Verse 6, Bhagavan says that for whatever object a man thinks of at the final moment, when he leaves his body, that alone does he attain, being ever absorbed in the thought thereof. Let us now look at verses from chapter 14, which is named Guṇatraya Vibhaga Yoga. In the verse 5, Bhagavan says, O Arjuna, born of Prakriti, the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, bind the imperishable Jivatma in the body. In verses 14 and 15, Bhagavan says, when one dies dominated by Sattva, one attains pure worlds of the wise. Dying in Rajas, one is born among those who are attached to action. Dying in Tamas, one is born in deluded wombs. In verse 18, Bhagavan says that those who are established in Sattva go upward, those who are moved by Rajas remain in the middle, and those who are steeped in Tamas, being weighted by the tendencies of that Guṇa, go downward. In the Gita, Bhagavan Krishna explains that due to gunas developed because of past life karmas, a jiva is born among those possessing similar dominant guna. Krishna never teaches that birth is random or that varna is a label decided by what one happens to do in a single lifetime. Throughout the Gita, he repeatedly establishes a clear and consistent principle. Past life gunas determine birth. Present life karma is performed within that birth according to svabhāva. So here, it is established that the type of birth is entirely based on guna composition of the jiva. Now, let us examine verses from the final chapter, Mokṣa Sannyasa Yoga, where this is stated most clearly. In the chapter 18, verses 42 to 44, Bhagavan describes duties of different varnas. According to these verses, duties are determined by nature. Varna is stated first, and then it is said to be possessing inherent nature suited for respective karma. Here we must observe a crucial distinction. There is a vast difference between saying Rama's bow is Kodanda and whoever holds the Kodanda bow becomes Rama. Please understand this. In the verses ending with svabhāvajam like Brahma karma svabhāvajam to Shudrasyapi svabhāvajam, Varna is mentioned first, then karma is linked to gunas those varnas naturally possess. Bhagavan did not say that whoever has certain gunas becomes that varna. Instead, he said that varnas naturally possess those gunas and hence they are eligible to do karma assigned to that varna. So the position of Purvapakshi is completely debunked by Bhagavan himself. If varna were merely a title, how could it possess a nature at all? So varna is definitely not a mere title but a tangible reality, and the tangible factor is birth. Why? Because gunas and svabhāva are subtle and not directly perceptible. Birth functions as their empirical indicator, not their cause. This is why varna is not inferred from svabhāva, but svabhāva is inferred from varna. In the chapter 18, verse 48, Bhagavan says that one should never abandon duty that is born with him, even if it is flawed, because all undertakings are enveloped by defects as fire is by smoke. Here in this verse, we find the words Sahajam Karma Kaunteya, which makes it clear that karma is born along with the jiva. This means that the jiva is born where its natural karma can be performed. Birth and karma are inseparable. So unless we understand that gunas of jiva guide himself to a compatible family to take birth in, understanding this verse is impossible. Because only understanding thus can we say that karma is born along with the jiva, because he is unconsciously guided by his past life tendencies towards people that are involved in karma that is in line with his svabhāva. Now, Let's understand this verse. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasah. Bhagavan says that I created 4 varnas, meaning jatis. They are born with inherent gunas. Based on that gunas, their karmas are assigned. So Bhagavan did not create unequal creatures. All souls are definitely not identical. So differences are natural. It can be understood that Bhagavan gave the opportunity for all kinds of souls to work towards moksha based on their svabhāva. Varna does not mean title and can only mean jati as per Bhagavad Gita. This is not my personal interpretation at all. In the Bhagavad Gita bhashyas of Adi Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Vallabhacharya, and all other Vedic acharyas, varnas are clearly mentioned as jatis. Therefore, do not assume that my interpretation is some sort of distortion from real teachings of Vedas. I just try to present their intentions in a logical fashion by connecting all the slokas on varna, guna, karma together and removing out of context misinterpretations. In the first chapter, varnas are said to be jatis by Arjuna himself, which is confirmed by Krishna in chapter 2 verse 11. And in the chapter 9 verses 32 and 33, varnas are mentioned as birth-based by Bhagavan himself. In the Bhagavad Gītā taught by Krishna Paramatma that occurs in the 11th skanda of Srimad Bhagavata Purana, you can see Bhagavan Krishna describing varnashrama dharmas in the 17th chapter. In the 15th sloka, Bhagavan says that varna is birth-based. You can even refer to Shruti Pramana if you study Purusha Sukta. We find the word Ajayata in that sukta many times, which means born, that was used for explaining origination of different varnas. And also in the chapter 5, section 10 and mantra 7 of Chandogya Upanishad, varnas are mentioned as birth-based. So interpretations that deny birth-based varna arise from isolating verses and ignoring the Gita's own internal structure. Traditional acharyas who are Vedic scholars consider all Vedas and scriptures that talk about varna. Any verse that talks about varna in any shastra must be understood with this background. No shloka or story can override this siddhanta. In the chapter 12 verses 13 and 14, Bhagavan describes who he likes the most, who does not hate any being, who is friendly and compassionate, who is free from attachment and egoism, who is equal-minded in sorrow and happiness, who is forgiving, who is always contented, steady in meditation, who is self-controlled and firm in conviction, who has surrendered his mind and intellect in me, he is dear to me. So Bhagavan never endorses hate or discrimination. He teaches us to see the self in all beings. So this discussion is about how Gita classifies varna for the purpose of dharma and moksha. It is not a license for arrogance, discrimination, or social cruelty, all of which are explicitly condemned by the same Shastra. So this video is for individual clarification and not for judging or discriminating others. Varna system is not a social hierarchy. Varnashrama system is all about what type of karma can a person do to easily attain moksha. Please remember this. Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu.